and welcome back to the Points Finish podcast, the Formula One focused podcast in which every time we meet, we try and aim for the podium, but let's be honest, we settle for points. And this is number 2, so if you've watched the first one and you've made it this far, it's only going to be half as long, we promise.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening or watching for those who are on YouTube as well. We're going to jump straight into it. Formula One is kicking off in like a matter of days. Drive to Survive.
Oh, happy Drive to Survive Day! Yay!
And for those like me who don't watch it, happy Friday. So
I'm so excited.
Really?
Excited. Yeah.
Why?
Because I love Drive to Survive.
Why?
Because it just, for me, sets the tone for the next season. I love it being like a little recap. Do you know, like whenever you're or you're watching a series?
Yeah.
It's always, and before the next season comes out, you always like to watch the previous season so that you can jump straight in. You're not like lost. I just love Drive to Survive because it makes me get excited for the next season. I also love the fact that it's put it into popular culture because there's some casual watchers of that. Yeah. Who then, whenever I'm talking about Formula One, at least I'm not being looked at like I've got 7 horns on my head.
Fair. Okay, fair enough.
I enjoy Drive to Survive for what it is. I love it.
Cool. Okay, so Formula One obviously this year, 2026 regulations, some big changes. So a little bit of a layout. What we're going to do today is we're going to cover the basic regulation changes and what we think is going to happen. Okay. For some reason, not like we know what's going to happen, and then we're going to do our little Formula One games. So big one that I want to cover off and start off with is the active aero. That's a big change this year. Okay. Do you understand essentially how it's working?
So yes, but let's just do a summary essentially of how it's doing. Let's just assume I don't.
DRS gone. Yeah.
Yes.
DRS trains gone.
Yeah.
That whole little wing that opened up once you were a second behind on certain selection bits, and that's the key difference. Certain parts of the track only, so you had your DRS detection point and then you had your DRS activation and deactivation point. That's gone.
Different tracks had different activation points. Some had more, some had less, some had longer, some had shorter. Yep. Gone.
Absolutely gone. And even as, like, at times when my wife was watching F1, she would have noticed all the little flaps opening on the back, and she even made the point, the guys behind aren't getting any advantage because the guy at the front has it too. Do you know that occasion with the DRS train, someone was like 1 second behind and they got it and everyone got it behind. Yeah. So everyone just had the same advantage, so it wasn't actually an advantage. So that's gone, and this year it's active aero. And honestly, it's been a while since I've been this excited about a regulation change.
Tell me why you're so excited, Dee.
So... Well, okay, so the we're not even going to get the Ferrari yet, but it's the concept that the drivers aren't able to change, in essence, these modes. You have your front wing and you have your rear wing, and there's 2 real settings. You have your X and you have your Z. The X is set for corners, which is going to be your high downforce, and then you have your Z, which is ultimately low downforce, or if you're Ferrari, lift. But we'll get to that in a second. So drivers will be able to change, in essence, the shape of the car, the front wing and the back wing. When they're in the corners, they'll change it and hit a button, and this is very simplistically put. Hit a button and the wings will create more downforce, pushing the car harder into the ground, creating more grip so they can go around the corners faster.
So does that make it safer?
In essence, yes, but not to get too big of a nerd. What that also means then is that there is a more aggressive tipping point when they lose grip. So there'll be those moments, I think, in the early days where you'll suddenly have these cars snap off the track. And you know what I mean by that? They'll be turning the corner and suddenly it's just like the whip and off they go. I think the first few races, they will be fine-tuning just how much mechanical and downforce grip they generate. I'm sorry, this is turning very nerdy, but also I love it. And then obviously when they go to the straights, they hit the Z button, which then makes the car super slippy. All the little wings kind of open or go flat. Air moves across the car much quicker, smoother, whatever way that is. And the car can go faster, cargo zoom. And ultimately then, Ferrari have absolutely taken, I don't want to say the rule book, but they've taken the interpretation of the rules and found something.
And that is, so I am particularly, so my big take from testing is that Ferrari seem to have figured it out, and Aston Martin seem to not want to compete. And that, and I'm so surprised. I genuinely thought I would be talking about those teams the other way around.
I think everybody, and again, if you're watching along on YouTube, comment below. If you're on Spotify, leave a comment in the review section. What do you think? I think everybody assumed Newey and the Stroll money and Alonso would create a car.
Absolutely.
And from looking at testing, and again, it's only testing, it just hasn't worked for them.
No.
The car is slow, it's unreliable, it doesn't even look overly planted, which again is a new aspect.
But boy, does it look pretty.
It looks really lovely. It looks lovely.
It looks really pretty.
Yeah.
It looks really pretty.
And
if we've got time, there's a few other pretty cars that I would like to talk about. But
so,
moving on.
So you've mentioned Ferrari. Ferrari, obviously, I'm sure you've seen the clip. Anyone who's into Formula 1 has seen that clip. All the all the team directors and all the commentators, suddenly when that wing went inverted for the first time and flipped.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched it, I went, oh, someone's forgot to bolt it on and it's about to fall off, or it's just spinning. No, it's a button that they activate. I can't remember who said it, but one of the lesser known commentators made a great point. He's like, what that wing's actually doing is, rather than reducing drag, it's actually creating lift, like a small airplane wing. And what they're actually saying is that they found a balance where that's going to create just enough lift to actually lift the car ever so slightly off the ground. Now, I don't mean fly, but I mean as in just take the extra bit of weight off the car to increase speed. The thing for me is they only did it for 5 laps. The amount of times those clips have been shown, you would think they did like 2 or 3 days of testing. They did it for 5 laps, brought it into the garage, and then they went back to their previous setup. And everyone's saying that means one of two things. Either they tried it and didn't have the impact they were hoping for, and we won't see it again, or they tried it, it worked so well, and they went, we don't want anyone else to get more footage of this, or the other teams to be able to go to the FIA. It's tinfoil hat. No one knows really what that means. But 5 laps for so much investment seems weird.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the big change. But I think it'll be 2 or 3 races before we really see the impact on teams getting the hang of this X and Z setup. I think there'll be quite a few accidents the first 2 or 3 races, because ultimately it is driver controlled. It's not electronically or pit controlled. And I'm trying to remember, you might remember, there was a driver, was it last year? Was it Dune? Early days Dune. He went into one of the corners, high-speed corners, with his DRS open. Do you remember this last season?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it was
one of the rookies, wasn't it?
I think it was Dune, and that was one of the nails in the Alpine coffin for him. And I think it was, but then the rumour was, he tried it in the simulator and it worked. But the difference that having a DRS historically open and closed made on corners is remarkable. I do think in the early days we're going to have drivers either mispressing buttons or the car's failing and them going into the corners in the wrong mode and having accidents. But it's like anything with a regulation change. More to be excited about.
Cool. Okay, so moving on.
First game.
Okay. So every episode we're trying to do a few games. So if you're watching, you're going to see me producing a box. If you're listening,
that's the sound of a box.
That's the sound of a box. And basically, essentially, the game is box, box, box. I have something in my box, and Dee, this time, has to try and guess what it is.
I've got 20 guesses.
You've got 20 guesses, and it has to be something to do with F1. I will start with giving him one clue.
Okay.
And then it's over to you.
Okay.
So, in my box is something... It is something to do with the driver.
Okay.
Every driver during a race or whenever they're in the car.
Okay. So count along with how many this takes me and let us know if you can beat me in this. Okay. Something that everybody has during the race.
Whilst they're in the car.
Okay.
It's talked about during the race.
Okay. Is it something attached to them?
Yes.
Is it jewelry?
No.
Is it... And is there actually one of these in here, or is this imagination land?
No, imagination land.
Okay, so there wasn't going to suddenly be a fireproof vest inside it. So is it something that they have to wear? Like, is it regulation?
Oh, I don't know if it's a regulation, but they certainly all... No, it must be. It's
Lewis Hamilton's 3 watches from that time, the FIA banned watches.
No.
An earring. Is it... Okay, so it might not be regulation? Or it might be?
It has to be.
It has to be regulation. Okay, is Is it sponsor related?
No.
Is it individual to every team, or is
No.
it like one set thing?
It's one set thing.
Okay.
It could probably change slightly,
Okay.
but not.
Okay. Is it to do with health?
No.
Is it to do with... Okay. Would they be able to race at all if they didn't have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it... Did I ask, is it safety related?
No.
Is it safety related?
Yes.
It's not going to be a helmet. It's not. It could be a helmet. Is it a helmet?
No.
Okay. But I know already what it is. Is it a fireproof mask?
No.
Oh, right, okay. I thought it was like the balaclava.
But what I will say is, because you are getting close to your 20 questions, like,
what question am I on?
I don't know.
Okay.
But shoulder up.
Oh, is it a hand device?
No.
Oh, shoulder up. Is it... Do they use it for communication?
No. I hope not.
It's shoulders up.
Yeah.
It's not a helmet. It's not the balaclava.
Can I give you a clue?
Is it a visor, turf strip?
Yes.
Turf strip, okay. That's a good one. That is a good one. Turf strip's good.
Well done.
That is a good one. That is turf off strip. Okay, so it's going to be my turn next time to do box. And I think next time it's going to be something fan related.
Fan related?
Something that an F1 fan is going to take to a race, because that's
Giant
the dream.
Lando Norris head.
That's exactly what it's going to pick, but it would have been Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll! Anyway, so...
Oh, you're giving a wee hint for what's going later on in the episode.
It's going to be a...
Anyway,
so...
Next change.
It's the X and the Z settings.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, so back to the start.
Do you want to delete this so that you're...
Nah, I'll just roll through it. No, it's easier for me to cut. Okay, so it's going to be my turn next time for box, and... It's going to be... You may have noticed a small cut there on the screen, guys. It's because everything's just went wrong.
And Dee won't let me tell you what did go wrong. So...
It's all been redacted. Like Eddie Irvine's name. So, he's innocent. Allegedly.
Right, cut.
R.I.P. earphone users. Okay, so it's my turn next time for box, and I think the theme's going to be something that a fan would take to a race.
Oh, so we're thinking giant cardboard head of George Russell or Lando Norris.
They have a really big head. Yes, it'll be something along that lines.
Okay, cool.
So, on to the next change. We've looked at the X and the Z options with the flippy flap, wings go flap. We're now on to the overtake, push for overtake button.
Yes. So this is as close to DRS as we're used to, really.
Yeah. So the way I describe it to folks who don't watch F1 is you hit the mushroom in Mario and you go zoom, and you have that for as long as your battery can last.
And so big difference is that previous tracks there was DRS zones.
Yep.
So you could only activate DRS in those zones, and it differed from track to track.
Yep.
Overtake mode is at driver's discretion, and that is the key difference. It can happen anytime, anywhere, as long as the battery's not at zero.
And they're within 1 second of the car in front. That's the key thing. So they've kept that from the DRS concept.
Okay.
Once you're within 1 second, have at it, son. You can just hit that button as long as you have battery. The battery doesn't need to be 100%. You've got 5%. It's up to the driver's discretion. Do I use that 5% or try and regen it a bit more for a bit of a longer boost? I think what they're trying to do away with is the DRS train, which, let's be honest, it was brutal. You had 5 cars, usually Alonso at the front. He managed to stay within a second. And even the thing was, if you were a back marker and you had 5 people behind you, so say you were 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and you had been overtaken by Max, and you happened to be overtaken just going through that DRS zone, you were being overtaken by the leader of the race, you were a back marker, but because you were within 1 second of the car in front, you got DRS, then all the cars behind you got DRS, and hence the DRS train. So there was actually no advantage to anyone to overtake. It just meant all the cars had DRS and went a little bit faster. The challenge, and it was interesting because it was always that first 2 or 3 laps trying to break DRS.
Yeah.
You know, first, usually it was like Lando last season, trying to break that 1 second before the second lap to DRS and all those things.
Yeah.
This year, as long as you're with 1 second, you can hit that button anywhere on the course. So I can't wait for the first race when Lando hits it and uses it perfectly, and then Lance hits it going into the pits. Just boop as he pulls in. So do you think it's going to make a difference?
The big difference that I think that these regulations are going to make is the fact that these changes, quite a lot of them are at driver's discretion.
Yeah.
And so actually my thing that I think is going to happen is that, well, here's what I think needs to happen is that in order for it to work and for it to work beautifully, pit wall and drivers need to be working very well together as a team. And I think that we've seen engineers and drivers working really well together, but then I do think you've got actually an Alonso who'll just be like, meh, for me.
GP2 engine!
Charles Leclerc kind of becomes his own engineer sometimes.
Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
So I do think that we might see playing out some driver in the heat of the moment doing their own thing out of frustration because they can.
I think the communication needs to be key. The drivers have all the information really they need in front of them now at that steering wheel. They'll know where their battery's at and they'll know how much they have available to use. What they won't know is the car behind. They won't know when that car is using it. They won't know where that car's battery's at. From my light understanding so far is that they're hoping to be able to have the car's telemetry on the screens, as Sky does very well, but they're hoping to be able to show where each car's battery's at during the race.
Oh, brilliant.
Now, if they have access to that for us to watch, every team will know. So the best thing would be, like, Lando's fighting for the lead. He's sitting in first. You know, George is tight behind him. And what you want McLaren straight onto him say, okay, Lando, you know you've got 80% battery. Like, Max is sitting behind you, but he's 100% battery. So, because also that press to overtake button, that boost button, it can be used for defense as well. So let's not pretend they're only going to use it to overtake. They're going to be using it coming out of corners to try and scoot away. So it will almost be that game of cat and mouse as well, which is, as a listener, is great. Because let's be honest, sometimes F1, it's not always about the physical action overtaking. It's a strategy, it's a cat and mouse. And once you then add that battery and who's going to hit the button when, because it's not just a mild DRS kind of shove, it's a considerable jump. It's like 30% extra power, which is significant in these cars. So I think it's going to probably be the biggest change of everything. The Indy cars have had it for quite a few years in the States, and they don't suffer boredom very well. So Indy's had it, and it makes a massive difference at times because the drivers have got very good at using it at different places, and they sometimes even use it to surprise the other driver. You know, when someone's going alongside, then the car that's been overtaken hits it suddenly. So suddenly that overtake slows, and then they go. But we don't know. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Cool. All right. Let's move on to our next fun bit.
Yeah.
If not, then what?
Yes, so last pod, we argued about Alonso.
So basically, every pod, we are going to be taking a driver and going, well, if you weren't a Formula One driver, what would you be? And we're just going to have a bit of fun of it and decide who that might be. So this episode...
It's an easy one. It's Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll.
So, Dee, if not, then what for Lance Stroll?
So I had something in my head earlier about what Lance would be, but you have a completely different take on it, which throws it out. So for me, an easy one is like working on an ice cream van, or probably even just like an e-gamer, and I don't mean like an e-sim driver. I mean like Fortnite. You know, just a kid, just sitting.
No.
But that's the level of ambition I see it in. But you've made a point that I want you to chat about because I think it's bang on.
So basically, I think with Lance Stroll, his career is completely dictated by his dad's business investments.
Yep.
So if Dad had invested in football, into a football team, Lance would be a Premier League footballer right now.
You're absolutely right.
And
Bang on.
just to be very clear, I also, because I actually do not have strong feelings for or against Lance Stroll. I think that he has skills. I think he has drive. I think that he obviously has the self-control and the stamina to be able to compete in the elite sport that is Formula One. Like, you're not just rocking up and getting into the car and racing.
No.
Like, you have to be peak fitness for it. It is, and I think he has all of that. I just think that because of his dad and what we're seeing of that family, he is part of the family dynasty, part of the family business. So therefore, if Dad was investing somewhere, that's where Lance would be. The big thing for me is Lance has skill, Lance has drive, Lance is no dozer, but he doesn't have the passion for the sport, and that's where I feel that lets him down, and that's why people are just like, oh, what? Lance, why is he here?
That's me. You've literally finished where I'm at. For me, it's a frustration with Lance. There's no doubt there's a driver there, but I'm going to take the driver word away. I'm going to take the Formula 1 away, and I think you're bang on. For me, Lance Stroll is one of those ones that, because his dad bought a Formula 1 car, or bought a Formula 1 team, he had every opportunity to get into Formula 1. So I think what Lance is Lance Stroll is your everyday man. You know, people would always say, oh, you can't get the Formula 1 unless you have that sparkle, you have that 0.01% driver's ability. But then they said you could take anybody, and if they practiced enough and they were in the right cars and they ate the right things and they trained the right amount of time, you had all the basic human bones, driver brain, all those things, you would get to a certain peak level. You'll never compete at the very elite of the Maxes and the Lewises and win the championships, but you'll be in the mix. And I think that's Lance. Lance has grown up, and the dad's went, I've got a Formula 1 team, you'll be a Formula 1 driver.
So,
okay.
And just to be clear, Lance was in Formula 1 before Lawrence bought a team. So actually, he has been funded by Dad.
Yeah, okay, I'll rephrase that. I think it's been then, Dad's went, do you want to be an F1 driver? And then the teams came after, but anything Lance has needed to get there, he's had. Whereas there's been other drivers who've had to get sponsorships, and people, highly talented drivers, have dropped out of the system because they haven't been able to fund it and so on. You know, Lewis is one of the few who made it through with Dad having to work multiple jobs, well documented. I just think that's why Lance lacks the passion, because if his dad had said, do you want to be a world-class piano player, and had given him the lessons every day with a top, he would have been. The football one's a great example. The best coaches, the best nutritionists, he would have done it. But would he have been passionate about it? That's my question. Did Lance wake up when he was little Lance boy at 5 years old, go, Daddy, I want to be an F1 driver? But because he doesn't act like it. And I think that's, you said it before, Max gets away with the nonchalance and the doesn't suffer fools, and even in interviews not looking interested, because when he gets behind that wheel, the passion is there. He's in the sim, and he said about 2-3 a.m. he's in the sim. I don't get that with Lance. There's moments where Lance just looks like, this is a hassle for me to be here. And then the frustration is there would be thousands of very competent drivers who would give anything to have the opportunity, who have the passion. And that's my issue with Lance. I think everything I hear, he's meant to be a really lovely person. He's not a diva, he's all these things. But I go, you're at that level, why are you still there if you're not passionate about it? And he may well be, but he needs to tell his face.
Yeah, because there has been glimmers of it. So whenever he hurt his hand, he did come back a wee bit too soon.
Yeah.
You know, there is glimmers of it. But I can't help but think that maybe that was PR driven, maybe. But that's a controversial take.
Or Dad saying, get back to work, son.
Well, anyway, so I think that Lance... So previously, before... Because F1, Lawrence buying the... Aston Martin or Force India or whatever it was back in the day.
I remember Force India.
Him buying that was actually left field for his business interests. You know, it's really been makeup, beauty and fashion. So like Michael Kors, for example, was a huge investment for him. So I think that if he had have continued with those investments, Lance Stroll has fabulous hair. I think there would be some form of like hair modelling or face of a campaign for some Canadian brand.
Yeah, I get that. I still go back to I think he'd be like the face of EA Sports for like gaming. Like Gaming Canada, you know, that concept of like would run or be part of a high end.
Could have been a national treasure for Canada.
Yes, yeah, or maybe just like the face of like a maple syrup company, something along that lines. But apparently Canadians aren't overly proud of him. There's been several videos where the Canadians like, and I think that comes down to passion again. I think they're like, you're representing our country. It looks like you don't want to be here. So, yeah, but I think you're right. Whatever Dad Stroll does, Lance Stroll would do. But whether or not, and it's not on him, I don't think that necessarily he has a choice in that. I think it's Dad. It's Dad.
Okay, moving on.
So moving on to our final big change, and this is we gotta be careful not to get crazy nerdy here. It's how that electrical power unit, the battery, is deployed and used and regenerated through the race. So whereas previously you had the system where when they lifted off, the battery charged, and then when they put their foot in the accelerator, the battery was used, almost very similar to like a modern hybrid car.
Okay.
It wasn't driver controlled. It just, as you pushed in the throttle, a certain percentage of that was petrol engine, a certain percentage was battery. When battery was empty, it went into regen mode. Now they've completely mixed it up and gave the driver modes within that. So they have attack mode, okay? They have defense mode. They have aggressive harvesting or angry farmer mode. They have then, what's that final one? That always escapes me. Defense, attack, aggressive harvesting, and overtake. I want to say overtake.
Overtake mode?
There is a mode.
There is overtake mode.
Yeah, there is the boost bump. Then there is overtake.
Overtake mode, yep.
So, and in essence, what that's allowing them to do is tell the car to behave differently with how it puts out its power. Attack mode obviously is the car just tries to get all the energy of the battery to them rear wheels as aggressively and as quickly as possible for the likes of in pulling out a slipstream, out of corners, late braking and so on. You have defense mode, which will change it that instead of that big massive punch of power, it will have a slower, prolonged boost for like whenever you're pulling out of corners on the main streets and someone's maybe behind you. You have then the aggressive regen, which in essence is that lift and coast. Whenever they lift off the throttle, the engine braking will be heavier. The car will slow down quicker without touching the brakes because it'll be regenerating energy. And then you have your overtake aspect, which again is something like attack mode, but the car uses its battery aggressively. It's driver driven, so it's going to make a massive impact. What do you think?
I'm sorry.
Was that a lot of nerd there, wasn't it?
It was a
lot of nerd. A lot of nerd.
You were on such a roll that I didn't expect you just to be like, what do you think?
And what do you think about all that information I've just dumped?
Again, I come back to the fact that they're putting... I'm excited because it's giving the driver a bit more...
Yeah.
It's a bit more driver-led. I do think we're going to have a lot of trial and error here, and it's... what I do quietly hope is that there's going to be some mistakes.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, having mixed up grids and mixed up strategies and things like that makes for more exciting viewing.
And a little sprinkle of rain.
Add all the rain. I want all the rain.
No, actually, I don't want all the rain. I want intermittent, changeable weather. I don't want all the rain because when all the rain happens, they go, we're gonna have a rolling start.
Yeah, we don't want rolling starts.
And what you want is you want the weather to be just in that sweet spot between slicks and intermediates.
Yeah.
And the track's across such a wide range of space. Corner 12's damp, but
you
corner
want
2 is dry.
Sochi 2021.
I just want it to be bone dry, but as they hit that final chicane, it's soaking wet. And then we'll see the drivers, because that's for me, that's whenever the elite drivers distance themselves.
You just want to see a set of wets on a car. I do.
Yeah. To be fair, it's like they have wets, but they're not allowed to use them. Because when they need to use wets now, it's not safe. But back to the main thing about the power. Again, we mentioned earlier, communication is going to be key.
Communication is going to be key, and also for me as a viewer, all of these are all very exciting. But I want to see how I'm pointing at my TV here, how they are going to communicate it with us as a viewer.
Yep.
Because we'll need to see all of that. We'll need to see, if Lando and Verstappen, say, for example, on the screen, we need to be able to see all of that stuff. So I'm hoping I'm assuming that Sky Sports is going to be
I've looked at a wee bit of this. FIA haven't confirmed yet what they're going to share with the viewers, what they're going to share with the Sky Sports, for example. But in my head, to keep it very simple, you have your timing towers you would have previous years.
Hopefully it works.
Hopefully it works, because when it doesn't work, everyone's like, oh, what? And it's very simple to have like a color code system, or the letter attack A, D, beside their name, so you know what mode they're in.
That's a good idea.
And ultimately then not a number, because of, like, you need to keep the timings or the only numbers on the screen, like 4 green blocks, and that's your battery charge.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So 4 green blocks, you've got one, and it's just 25% per block. This is me just spitballing ideas. For me, I go, okay, so you'd have Max Verstappen, the letter D, and 2 green blocks.
Yes.
In that, and then it's time, Verstappen, defense mode, he's 2 greens.
The screen, with all this information at the side of the screen.
And the driver's car's like that side. It's just like all the status, like CFAX.
Like
CFAX with just a little picture-in-picture. It's like, click red to actually see the race, or just look at the data. At this point, Bernie's just like... we haven't talked about Bernie much.
We will talk about Bernie.
A Bernie-focused episode.
I would love a Bernie-focused episode. Bernie
Yes,
Collins, for
Bernie.
anybody who doesn't realise what we're talking about.
And especially us being from Northern Ireland, Bernie is Queen. And if Bernie ever wanted to grace us with any form, could you imagine? Bernie, just one comment, a like, even just a like.
Bernie, like us.
I would even take a Rascal Haas Instagram like, anything. So yeah, the changes this year are so significant. They're all coming at once. All of them are driver controlled.
And we will get to see it next week.
Yes, 4 a.m.
Which we're looking forward to watching. It is, for me, like almost like you've got like Christmas, you've got Easter, you've got get up at 4 a.m. for Melbourne. Or Australia.
First race. Yeah, for Australia.
It's not Melbourne.
Why are they here? I get up early for the races. I don't like getting up early for the races.
I like it.
But I will get up if it was a 4 a.m. and it was like 3 races to go, and like this points were settled, I probably wouldn't get up for it. I would get up early and just have it and watch the live, but not at the 4 a.m. But because this is the first race of the season, because it's just so unknown. It is completely unknown. I'll definitely be up for it. Yeah, I genuinely can't. I can't remember last time we're going into the F1 season with so many unknowns. Who's been sandbagging? Who's just let it oil at the table? Are Aston Martin or Williams even going to be there? What? Like, yeah. So there's only one rookie this year. It's just, how's Cadillac going to do? How's Audi going to do?
I know, this is it. Yeah.
So I can't wait. Right, you finished predictions. So heart and head. Give me your heart.
Yep.
World champ.
Okay.
Heart constructors. Logic can go out the window.
Heart.
Well, heart. Not logic. I'm based solely on on all the testing and everything so far.
Heart-wise, obviously, I want McLaren to win their 3rd Constructors' Championship. That's my heart.
The McLaren fangirl, just.
However, I think that Mercedes.
Okay, so their heart is McLaren.
Well, yeah, because personally, I obviously want McLaren to do well.
As she sits in a Toto t-shirt.
But as I sit in my Toto t-shirt, because I actually am on the Mercedes hype train for.
Oh.
No.
There's no Mercedes hype train. There's a Mercedes sandbagging train.
So, well, anyway, I will say constructors, Mercedes, which leads me on to my World Championship prediction, which is that I dearly want a Verstappen, George Russell championship battle. So that is my head and my heart talking.
I agree. I think Verstappen George title battle would be epic, because you have 2 drivers who are entirely emotional based. Like Max, I think if you put Max and George together, it would be absolute fireworks the entire season, because previously you had Max and Lewis, but Lewis was so controlled and calm verbally with the media, and he was always quite, racing incidents happen, whereas the 2 or 3 connections between George and Max, afterwards in the pits, they are 100% at it, throwing mud, slagging. Max is laughing through it, but George is absolutely just... So I think that'll be an amazing race. For me, Hart, Ferrari, I am so on the hype train. I am just like... My only concern is, it's Ferrari. Everyone else is sandbagging, and Ferrari have went, let's just show them all our pace and everything we've got. And everyone else has more pace, but we just don't know that because they've been sandbagging. So we're going, oh, Ferrari are so fast, but actually they're mid-pack. No one's just turned up their engines yet. That's my worry. That's the concern.
Okay.
Hart says Ferrari. Hart says Lewis, 9th title. And then...
Oh, controversial too.
It's not controversial when drivers are saying it. It's not just me saying it. Other drivers are saying it. Lando said it. Lewis, 9th title. Ferrari constructors. Ferrari is also my heart and head for constructors. I think if they get the car even close to what we hope it is, they are the strongest team by far. And I also think both drivers are mature enough. And Lewis has shown it in the past, the likes of Bottas and so on. If he will let you pass, or if you let him pass, he will do what's right for the team. And I think Leclerc is just such a nice guy. He will get that. It might change if he gets a sniff of a championship. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think they're the strongest team drivers for constructors. I think the head for title this year is Max. I think Max dances between the world of old school mechanical driver, but also with so much eSIM experience, he will be the one who'll be able to pick up all the computer stuff 100%. Fast. I think the likes of Bottas and the guys who've been that, and Lewis too, who've been the older school drivers, will struggle with all that multitasking stuff plus being fast. Whereas Max, it's just a computer game to him. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be Max first. I think it'll be George Russell second, and it'll probably Lando third. But
not Leclerc.
No,
just because you're talking about Ferrari and
it's just. I just can't. That's a hard thing. That's not a head thing. That's a hard thing. It's not a head thing. So I think Max will, and dare say, I think Max is going to win it at a canter this year. Because he's shown in the past, when that Red Bull's fast, he's untouchable, and when that Red Bull's slow, he's still in the mix.
Yeah.
He's still putting the thirds in. He's still putting the seconds and fourths in.
He's a talented driver. He's one of the greats. He really
which
is.
pains me to say at times, but he is absolutely probably top 5, top 6 drivers.
Of all time.
He's on my Mount Rushmore, I think. As much as I don't like it.
He's on your Mount Rushmore.
You never heard that term? Mount Rushmore of drivers? Mount Rushmore of drivers. Hamilton, Senna, Mansell, Hill.
You would put Mansell on Mount Rushmore?
Just for the moustache.
For the moustache.
You can't. He's a Brummie. He's from Birmingham. And he was an F1 driver. Prost was just never for me. Prost, no. Senna, yes. Prost, no.
Schumacher?
Nope.
You wouldn't put Schumacher on your Mount Rushmore?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't. He might have like a wee statue, but he's just such an unlikable character. I just can't. I can't with Michael Schumacher. I can't with him. I can't.
Oh wow! Wow! And on that bombshell.
Maybe. Oh, that's a different show. Maybe we'll next Paul we'll discuss drivers and history, but like Schumacher, no. Hence, little Nigel. Anyway. Thank you so much for listening. If you're on Spotify, for watching, or for on YouTube, we've asked before, do us a favor, please click subscribe,
like, alerts,
all of those things. Send up a signal flare. For a small, little tiny channel starting out, it makes such a difference to us with a like, a subscribe, and like hitting that little bell thing that apparently sends alerts, and even a comment. It makes such a difference to us with the algorithm that we don't understand. But again, in comments, if you'd like us to chat about something, if you have questions or if you have feedback, let us know. But thanks for surviving podcast number 2. We'll be back after Australia. And yeah. Just talking about Australia, which will be chaos.
Which will be great.
You guys haven't encountered us post-race yet. This is all pre-season. This is behaving.
Anywho, it was nice for you to join us. I have to go to work now.